Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. Every bit of support is greatly appreciated. Now let's get to the video. What up, I'm Xander, and today we're taking a look at a studio that should have been up there with the greats if they made any other movie than Titan AE, Fox Animation Studios. Founded in 1994, Fox Animation Studios was the successor to Don Bluth Entertainment, even having Bluth as one of the co-founders. But it was not only doomed by the lukewarm reception of one of their films, but also the second theatrical release being one of the biggest animated bombs of all time. The studio showed promise and can also be credited for helping with the development of Blue Sky, which I've talked about before. In their short 6-year run, they released 2 theatrical releases and a DVD sequel to their first film. So, 25 years after their defunction, is that a word? I wanted to take a look back. So since there's only 3 movies to talk about here, I'll also talk about any canceled projects that are known by the studio. So you guys get a two for one deal, subscribe if you haven't already. I got a lot of videos coming up. It's messy. Okay, let's get to it. Starting us off is Anastasia from 1997. I'll go ahead and admit I've never gotten the hype around this one. I'll explain my issues with it later, but first, this is an adaptation of the story of Anastasia. If you're not aware, the real-life Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolai, I can't say that shit, was notably assassinated alongside her Russian royal family in 1918 amidst the Russian Revolution. So this movie's mad disrespectful because obviously she died at 17, but here, she's alive. However, in a clever way, the film presents the idea that Anastasia survived the assassination, which was a common conspiracy around her in real life, even with women falsely claiming to be her. So if you're willing to take this with a grain of salt, this is actually a pretty fun film. As I said, it follows Anastasia in an alternate timeline where she survives and flees to Paris. In this one, the villain is the real-life Rasputin, voiced here by Christopher Lloyd, who's also joined by his albino-backed sidekick Bartok. He has a whole movie, I'll talk about him later. So it's a really weird concept for an animated film, but I give credit, it's different. I haven't done 1997 in animation yet, but I'm willing to say this might be one of the better films of that year. I'd have to look up other films though. I know Hercules dropped that year, that's pretty good. The best way I can describe the visuals is to compare them to The Land Before Time, another great Bluth film. Just a decade earlier. Both look great, but this film is clear evidence Bluth was evolving his style. Also, I don't know how people feel about him, but I like Lloyd as Rasputin. Not only does the voice feel fit for him, but damn, this villain song is very underrated. Come, my minions, rise for your master. It kind of reminds me of that one song from The Great Comet of 1812. So alright, I've had my time. How was there never a film adaptation of this damn musical? Okay, moving on. It's also got some seriously good music, even getting nominated for Best Score and Original Song at the Oscars that year. However, I'm not gonna lie, Anastasia's too damn boring in this for being a film named after her. She's voiced by Meg Ryan, I gotta give Bluth that. Meg Ryan is hard to make interesting. I'm sorry, I just don't care for her. And the story just never really grabbed me at any moment. The visuals in Rasputin really keep this from being boring. If it weren't for those two, I really wouldn't care for this one. Look, I'm gonna get to Bartok, alright? Simply put, this isn't a bad movie, it's clearly really good. It's just not my most favorite film. In a way, I see it as better than everything else the company put out, but that's not much of a standard. In 1999, we got a DVD sequel to Anastasia, Bartok the Magnificent. I'll be quite honest, I don't care for Bartok. He's voiced funny and is clearly paired with a good duo with Rasputin, but he just doesn't say enough funny stuff. So, making a whole movie around him? Damn it, Ramen jammed my gun again! I'll be honest, this isn't as bad as it could have been, but it certainly is the worst of the 3 movies, at least in my opinion. In this film, rather than be inspired by a real-life story, Bluth uses his classic originality and has Russia be terrorized by an evil witch. I am not ending up on a watch list, damn it. And it's up to Bartok and his new friends to stop her. While not that original, there is still some charm to this one. While Bartok himself doesn't really get that many laughs, the side characters aren't that bad, honestly. And Baba Yaga, the witch in this question, is very funny. Honestly, her design really hits home to Bluth's older designs. It works surprisingly well considering those were made with low budgets, and this literally is a DVD sequel. It's kind of like an unintentional homage to Bluth's early works. But yeah, as I said, it's not the best. I guess it works for what it's given, but I'm not too fond of Bartok, so yeah, this one's just alright. Fox Animation Studios came to an end with Titan AE. God damn, what a shitty way to go. He's beckoning us closer. His final words. Titan AE. Ah! Damn it! Oh, just write down I love you guys or something. Fucking what a way to go. Titan AE was a huge production mess and was reflected with its awful box office return. As I said, it was one of the biggest bombs in animation history. So all of that, plus production issues and crazy marketing, it's fine. It's a sci-fi action film starring a young man named Matt Damon. Kale, his name's, he's played by, yeah, as he must find a hidden ship that apparently contains the fate of humanity. What? The plot is a little dumb, but I give credit that other than this final space reject, a lot of the characters look different. That's something I always gave Bluth. He made his characters look different even if they weren't interesting. This kangaroo bitch probably made someone hot and bothered, if you catch my drift.
Got it! That's a drift catching moment.
The biggest hurdle this film has, though, is its main character. Kale is simply not interesting. I called him a Final Space reject, but fuck, Final Space had more interesting characters. But visually, it's stunning, man. I mean, the money's on the screen. Better than I'm not having that conversation again.
Green Lantern, more like Green Cantern.
It's really tough. I don't think this movie is necessarily bad, but it's got a lot of flaws. The story just isn't interesting and the main character is absolutely bland. But the visuals are good, the side characters work. I really hate dogging on this movie because it clearly had enough problems and even led to the sad early departure of the studio, but I can't act like it's a perfect film. I wish it was better because it seemed like a good concept, but I'm just saying it bombed for a reason.
Okay, so this is a part of the video where I'm going to transition to what would be a canceled movie video. You know, the little music I use, like that's going away. So this is going to be the part where I just say the names as the transitions instead of the you know, that music that I use. I don't know what else to say here. Subscribe.
These were greenlit ideas for potential movies at Fox Animation Studios, but due to the studio's premature ending, they never happened. Betty of the Jungle. In 1995, Bill Kopp, the creator of Eek the Cat, which funny enough ran on Fox Kids, was brought in to do an adult animated film titled Betty of the Jungle. Kopp apparently described it as a sexy version of George of the Jungle. What? Dude, Brendan Fraser was already in it. It's sexy enough. This one just seemed weird, but from what I watched of Eek the Cat, it sucks this never got made. Would have been at least fun to see how they pull it off. Dracula. There were talks of Fox Animation Studios tackling a musical adaptation of Dracula. I assume it would have been similar to Adam Sandler on Dracula with Hotel Transylvania. Honestly, considering the studio's short history, I think it would have been cool, but I'm also indifferent to Dracula adaptations. Barlow's Inferno. This would have been an animated version of Wayland Barlow's novel of the same name. This would have been the direct successor of Titan A.E., but of course that movie made how much money?
Oh, he broke! Why? God!
Never read the book, so I don't know. Rhapsody. This would have been an adaptation of Elizabeth Hayden's novel of the same name, specifically the first installment of the series. Again, I've never read it. The Little Beauty King. This weird project was from a weird guy, Steve Odekirk, who had his name in such projects as Jimmy Neutron and Barnyard. It would have been an adult animated parody of Disney's Renaissance films, similar to what they would do with Shrek and Fairy Tales. Considering Odekirk's history, I do feel like this one would have been really cool to see. I love Odekirk's work, so it really sucks this never got made. Over the Hedge.
It sucks to be a fan of yours.
This would have been just an adaptation of the comic strip similar to what DreamWorks did. Fans of the Over the Hedge community will never be the same. Africa. Not much on this one. It was an adult animated film set in Africa. Only some concept art exists. Fathom.
Just like I can't fathom how Titan A.E. bombed that bad. It's going down!
This would have been based on the comic series of the same name. It's an interesting one for sure. Ice Age. I went into detail on this one in my Blue Sky Canceled Movies video, but Fox Animation Studios was supposed to do Ice Age in a traditional 2D style way before Blue Sky would make it their debut film. I've gone on and on about the details of this early version of the film and how I would have been more interested to see that compared to what we got, so I won't bore you with the details again. Rather, I want to highlight the weird history and parallels between Fox Animation Studios and Blue Sky. Fox Animation Studios just got a bad hand, especially with their film Titan A.E. Both studios simply have that certain innocence that I do feel bad that neither of them exist anymore. Like, okay, I can't say I loved any of the films that Fox Animation Studios put out. Anastasia is a very bright and colorful film with some great music, but it's not a film I absolutely would go back to and see. Titan A.E. is about the same, with the story being so jumbled and confusing and the main character not working as well as I'm sure they thought he did, adding on to the production issues this film notably had. But neither of those films are horrible, and I'd say if they just put a little bit more effort in, we would have seen some of these films come to light. Am I absolutely devastated the studio doesn't exist anymore? I wouldn't say so. I mean, I can live every day knowing that only these 3 films got made, but there was a part of me that wants to know what would have happened if Titan A.E. made its money. Because while they weren't the most memorable studio around, I still have a lot of respect for what this studio stood for and what it eventually created.
Well, thanks for sticking with me today, guys, and until next time. Hey, did you throw this drift? Why, yes, that is my drift. Well, here's what I think about your stupid drift. What are you doing? That's my jar of mustard. Mustard.
I miss!